Those who are in environmental field will remember 2015, an agreement was signed. Paris, all of you know. First time ever, the world has come together unanimously. Rich countries and poor countries together decided that yes, we are all going to reduce carbon emission. Why? Because the global warming was becoming apparent and all this thing happened. By the way, the discussion on climate change started way back in 1997 when the Kyoto Protocol was signed. And then there is a COP meeting that takes place every single year. All big leaders, prime minister, president, they all come together and they have meeting to discuss only one thing: how to solve the problem of climate change, reducing carbon emissions. Every single year, carbon emission keep rising. 1% global carbon emissions rising. 2015, you know what was the decision? That by 2030, 45% reduction. So what a day it was, right? I was so, I was in a seventh sky. Wow. Finally, the world has come together. Now in 2016, carbon emission will go down. 17 will go down further. 18 will go down further. No, it is all increasing. Even today, it is increasing. The rate of increase has flattened, but it is increasing with 1% growth rate, right? So when all this is happening in 2018, there's a report came of IPCC, Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. There are two things that you should worry about. By the every physical system will have threshold, yes or no? This pen, I can put a pressure on it, it will not break, but beyond a point it will break. Similarly, the atmosphere is a physical biological system, right? It has a threshold points. What are the threshold points? 1.5 degrees centigrade and 2 degrees centigrade. That's very beautifully described, and each IPCC report is prepared by thousands of scientists from many countries, right? And the best part they do is they don't conduct their own research. Why? Because they want to be unbiased in all their findings. So whatever they do the analysis based on the data that are already published by somebody else. At 1.5 degrees centigrade, they say irreversible climate change will start. And at 2 degrees centigrade, it will be completely irreversible. So this is the window we are talking about. And what will happen beyond 2 degrees? Positive feedback loop will start. I mean, it will already be in action, but it will be so much positive factor that it will be beyond any control, right? So I keep saying, 2 degree ke baad mein, nature is not going to kill you so easily. You know how is nature going to kill us? जैसे मूवी में एक डेंजरस विलेन हीरो को कैसे मारता है? हाँ, तड़पा तड़पा के. So as you go there, इतनी आसान मौत नहीं मिलेगी. More floods, more droughts, more heat waves, more forest fire. All this will happen. When I went to 30 countries, I figured out some basic problem with the entire world. You know what was the problem? Traffic jam. Everywhere, the poor country, the rich country, the European country, the American, everywhere there's one thing common, there is traffic jam. And I started thinking, one country can go wrong in planning, two countries can go wrong in planning. How come every country is wrong in planning? Traffic jam everywhere. And that is where when I started thinking more and connecting the dots, I could figure out that there is a fundamental problem in this world. The way world is designed, the way world is operating, there is something fundamentally wrong. And as a result of which, everything is growing, science is growing, technology is growing, economy is growing, but water is getting polluted, air is getting polluted, temperatures are rising, climate change is happening, depression is increasing, stress is increasing, violence is increasing. Every parameter that you can think, I believe in today's term is going in opposite direction, except one parameter. You know what? GDP growth. If Gandhiji would have been here, how would he have solved the problem? That is the question that came to my mind. And one thing immediately, when you think of Gandhi, what happens? What comes to your mind? Dandi March. This $100,000 that I received as award money, and by the way, I received many awards with the cash prizes of 5 lakh, 10 lakh. This I never kept any money with me. So I said, some money is there as a seed money. Let me start this yatra, which is called Energy Swaraj Yatra. But I thought this yatra has to be not short, 1, 2 years or 5 years. Why? Because it's a global problem. It is not problem of one country. It has to be really long. So I decided to give at least 1 decade of my life, and by 2030 it is going to be sustainable development goals, right? So it started in 2020, 30 included, it becomes 11 years. If you really want to do this and solve it, you have to be fully committed. So I decided and I placed that I will not go home for 11 years. I'm married, by the way, I have 2 daughters. So last 1680 days I have not gone home. And if you don't go home, what do you do? So I live in this bus. I don't know if some of you might have seen it. I have been traveling all over the country. There is a bed inside, there's a kitchen inside, washroom, library, office, temple, garden, all there is everything inside. So this has been this has become more famous than me now. So everybody knows my bus and we go all over country, and I'm on unpaid leave. So last 5 years I did not get any salary, but believe me, it was much more enriching than anything else, and I could myself understand so many things during the yatra which otherwise. So when I started yatra, what was my initial purpose? That solar will solve the problem. I felt if you do solar everywhere, it will solve the problem. Believe it took me just 6 months to realize solar से कुछ होने वाला नहीं. Why? Because solar is not the problem. The whole problem is that we don't understand the problem. We cannot treat cancer by taking paracetamol. Yes or no? And what the world is trying to do? The world is trying to treat climate change by taking paracetamol. It is not going to work. That is what I realized. First realization. Solar is not going to be enough. By the way, people know me, solar man of India, and this. What do I tell people? The rule number 1 of using solar energy is do not use solar energy. And people get shocked. And why? Because solar doesn't come from the God house. It has to be manufactured, it has to be mined. Materials, chemicals, aluminium, iron, copper, inverter, battery, recycling, all this takes energy. Anytime you are going to dig, it's environmental damage. Thermodynamics second law. You know that? Every action that you are going to take in this world will have impact on the entropy. Basically, will have impact on the environment. So therefore, mindless use of any technology, be it solar, electric vehicle, wind, biomass, is not going to work. And that is exactly what is happening. We are able to go to the moon, right? We have developed efficient solar panels, electric vehicles, these technology, that technology. Is the problem increasing or decreasing? Increasing. Policies, we have Kyoto Protocol, COP meetings, Paris Agreement. This is the problem increasing or decreasing? Increasing. Economy, it has been growing with 6%, 7%. Is the problem increasing or decreasing? Increasing. Which means, if you look at the history of last 30, 40 years of the world, first thing you have to realize that policy, technology, all economic growth, planting trees, recycling waste is not the solution to the environment and climate change. That you have to understand. It took me 5 years to understand this. But everybody in the world is busy in what? Making policies, developing technologies, growing economies. Every COP meeting, what they discuss? Climate funds, climate fund. And I keep saying, Baba, why climate fund? More funds means more production, means more carbon emission, isn't it? So I think there is a fundamental problem in understanding of the world. And I can tell you 99% people do not understand the problem itself. And that's why we are trying to do something which is not working. As a result, problem is increasing every single year. 2024, by the way, was declared what? Warmest year in human history. Modern humans mean Homo sapiens. Homo sapiens have been there on this planet last 300,000 years. In last 300,000 years, never happened so that the year was so warm as 2024 was. Temperature is rising and it's accelerating. And if you look at the carbon dioxide concentration, for 800,000 years are almost like this. Then came 1850. What is 1850? Industrialization. Started using coal, oil, crude oil, gas, and beyond that it is like this. The CO2 concentration of the atmosphere used to be around 280 ppm. What is today's concentration? 428 or something. And carbon dioxide is carbon dioxide, right? It is going to do what it's supposed to do. What is carbon dioxide will do? It is going to trap the heat. So in terms of percentage, there is a 53% extra carbon dioxide sitting, which means planet has got 53% extra capacity to trap the heat, which means 53% extra energy is trapped, which means of course planet is going to become warm. And body temperature is 97, 90 degree. If body temperature increase only by 2 degree Fahrenheit, only by 2 degree, it becomes 100. Then what we say? Body has got fever, just 2 degree out of 98. What is the current degree rise? In terms of degree centigrade, it is 1.3 degree centigrade. in degree Fahrenheit is 2.4 degree Fahrenheit. Planet is already warmer by 2.4 degree Fahrenheit. It is almost like a fever to the planet. And when we get a fever, we lose balance, can't eat properly, can't work properly, can't sleep properly. Planet also is not behaving properly. I was shocked to see, there is a village in Odisha. Somebody said, sir, you have to go there. And when I went there, literally shocked. You know what? Village is no more there. Where it has gone? Submerged under the sea. Indonesia. 3 years back, there was a conference. Scientists having conference. You know what? Standing in the water. Why? There used to be land there. In Google Map, there is a feature called time-lapse series. You go and do it yourself. Go and look at some of the Sundarban islands. You will see in last, and the data is available from 1984. You will see the island is becoming smaller and smaller. Live data. Why? Nothing is happening to island. Sea level is rising. What is the rate? 4.5 millimeter per year. Can you believe it? Infinite body of water is rising so much every single year. 4.5 millimeter every single year. Indonesia government is spending $30 billion to shift the entire capital. Jakarta is being shifted to other places. Can you imagine? But you ask Jakarta or any other government spend $30 billion in stopping this, they will not do it. Why? Because humans somehow got wired into something else. We will always focus on cure. But I keep telling prevention is 1,000 times better. Let us prevent. Cure is going to be very expensive. How far we are away from here? There are two scientific data that we should all worry about. Number one, accumulated carbon dioxide. So how much more carbon we can afford. So if you plot the accumulated carbon and temperature, the curve looks like this, real data. Okay. So we are here, and then after that you can extrapolate where it is going. So based on this, you will find CO2 level and temperature level. So you can find a correlation. Based on this data, we have about what is called carbon budget of 160-170 billion tons today. As of today, we can afford to emit about 170 billion tons before we touch 1.5 degree. And as of today, we can afford to emit some 800-900 billion tons before we touch 2 degree. Big number, right? 170 billion ton. You know what is our rate of emission? We have in 2023, we have crossed 40 billion ton per year. When you divide 40 billion into number of months, number of hours, minutes, second, you know what is the number that comes? So much kg of CO2. In how much time? Per second. 1.2 million kg of CO2 is thrown in the atmosphere in this much time. 1 second. That is what is happening right now on this planet. When would poor trees will absorb so much carbon? It's not possible. Even if you have Lord Shiva on your side and say plant trees everywhere, tathastu, you will not be able to solve it. Even if every bit of a plastic gets recycled in the world, you will not be able to solve it. It has already gone way beyond that. You cannot solve the problem cancer by taking paracetamol. You cannot solve the problem of climate change by planting trees, developing technologies, putting solar, electric vehicle, green hydrogen. None of this is going to work. Why? Because you are actually throwing so much of carbon and you are doing so much of this thing and you are feeling good about it. And that is exactly the reason why problem is accumulating and becoming bigger every year. When we are here, as per the time available today for 1.5 degrees centigrade is about 4 to 6 years with the current rate. And for 2 degrees centigrade, it is about 20 to 25 years. You know what is India's net zero target? 2070. तो 20 साल तो इधर होने वाला. What you are going to do 2070? When 2 degrees centigrade itself will cross by 2045 or 50, what are you going to do by 2070? Irreversible. Positive feedback loops. There are something which are not even coming to account, like there is a term called ticking time bomb. In Siberia, the cold part, there is a lot of biomass is trapped inside. And now because temperatures are rising, the ice and the soil, the water and soil put together becomes a hard stone kind of, that is called permafrost. And because temperature is rising, permafrost is melting. You would have seen stories where the lakes are disappearing. There used to be beautiful lakes and now, in couple of months they disappear. Why? Because the base was not a solid stone, the base was ice and the water and the cold temperature. So it was actually water kind of rocks, and because of temperature there is melted, the whole water is this. So permafrost is melting. What is happening? Because biomass will degrade into what gas? Methane. And methane is 20 times more dangerous than carbon dioxide as a greenhouse gas. And that's why it is called ticking time bomb. If methane gets released from all that Siberian region, we are anyway not going to do anything. If I take a picture of the planet Earth, how does it look like? Three scenarios: sustenance, growth, or degradation. Everything that is not essential for survival is growing. AI. Can you survive without AI? Yes or no? Computer, mobile, you can all survive. Is it growing? Huge, leaps and bounds. Every 3 months, new models, new this, new that. All growing. Look at what is degrading? Everything that is essential for survival. You can't live on this planet if you don't breathe for 2 minutes. I guarantee you'll die. Just close your nose for 2 minutes, you'll die. If you don't drink water for 10-15 days, you'll die. If you're not going to eat for 10-15, you're going to die. Air, water, and soil is so essential for survival of human life. Is the air quality improving or degrading? Soil quality? So my question to all of you, is it a modernity or a stupidity? Plain stupidity, yes or no? Don't be shy of saying that. Modern humans are the most stupid animal ever existed on this planet. मनुष्यों से मूर्ख जानवर धरती पर आज तक आया ही नहीं. यही जानवर है जो उसी पानी को खराब करता है जो खुद ही पीना है. Isn't it? उसी हवा को खराब करता है जो खुद ही ब्रीथ करना है. उसी मिट्टी को खराब करता है जिसमें से खुद खाना खाना है. No other animal does it. It's only humans who does it. As a result of that, look what is happening. It's all degrading. What degrading means, air quality in Delhi is never in a healthy region. It's always in a bad, very bad, super bad, and whatever. We are all trying to going to go GDP for what? Nobody understands. I keep asking this question. Why should we increase GDP? And people say, sir, because of GDP, prosperity increases. It's true for some extent. But tell me, our country's GDP has been growing with last 1991 to 20-30 years with 5%, 6%. Now tell me, every time when GDP increases by 5%, which means prosperity increases by 5%, which should mean smile should also increase by 5%. Are people smiling more and more every year, 5% more? Is that happening? No, our smiles are going down. Yes or no? Yeah, depression, stress, violence, ये सब बढ़ रहा है. What should I do with GDP? What is the purpose of GDP? It's not understood. The second question I ask, how much GDP should I grow? Would 5% be enough for me, or 10%, or 15, or 20? And third question is, how long should we grow GDP? Is 10 more years is good for us? 20 more years, 30? How many more years we should grow? Nobody has any idea, but everybody is trying to grow. That is where the disaster is. And that is where all, I think, going wrong in this. Do you realize that how dangerous it is to brush our teeth? Are you all brushing your teeth every day? For brushing your teeth, the amount of resources that you need is itself is a disaster. Toothpaste, where does it come from? Manufacturing. Does it take energy? Which means carbon emission. World 80% energy comes from coal. Do you buy toothpaste in tube or beautiful package? It has to be packaged, right? So package is extra, that is not required, right? But it has to be manufactured. Does it mean carbon emission? Yes. Your toothpaste is manufactured where? Do you know? 500 kilometers from your home or 1000 kilometers? Nobody knows. So it has to be transported. Energy. Then toothpaste is kept where? In the shop, malls. बिगड़ गए, modern हो गए. Toothpaste को भी AC में रखा जाता है. Energy. When you actually understand that what it takes to brush your teeth, you will stop brushing from tomorrow. You need water, for that you need pipe, iron mining, iron refining, energy, motor, magnet, copper, energy, overhead tank, cement, concrete, energy, wash basin made out of ceramic, 1800 degrees centigrade is melting temperature of ceramic. Hell lot of energy. Glass, mirror out of quartz. If bathroom is closed from every side, so you have to run bulb, energy. Then to run the bulb, you need electricity. So many items are required to perform a simple task of our life, what we call as brushing teeth. Imagine what we are doing 24/7. Can you imagine how disastrous is our everyday life? We don't know this, but this should be taught to every student in IIT, isn't it? How disaster is every single day on this planet. When we use energy, the equation is carbon plus oxygen equal to carbon dioxide plus energy, right? What do you do with the carbon dioxide? Release in the atmosphere, right? When you're cooking, eating food, you're releasing carbon dioxide, wearing clothes, eating. सबको लगता है एटमॉस्फेयर उसके पिताजी का प्रॉपर्टी, फादर्स प्रॉपर्टी, grandfather's property. No, it is not your father's property, boss. It is not your property. But that's what we are doing. Every time when you're throwing this, Science, technology, and economy is growing. Atmosphere is not growing. Yes or no? Is it growing? No. What we have done? We have made atmosphere as our garbage bin, invisible garbage bin. You can't see this. Carbon dioxide is a colorless and smellless gas. You can't even see this, feel it. We are making atmosphere as a garbage bin. It is getting filled every day. Unfortunately, you can't empty in this bin, right? घर का bin को साफ कर सकते हैं, खाली कर इसको नहीं खाली कर सकते. Once carbon is emitted, it has a life of 300 years, average life, up to 1000 years, minimum 50 years. मतलब आज जो तुमने पंखा और एसी यूज किया है 300 साल तक चुकाना पड़ेगा क्या? Minimum price that you have to pay is for 300 years. And you're all going to die. None of us are going to stay here for 300 years. Who is going to pay for it? For the AC that you enjoyed today, who's going to pay for it? Your own children and your own grandchildren are going to pay for it. What the life you're enjoying. ये जितना जोमेटो ऑर्डर करते हैं, स्विगी ऑर्डर करते हैं, उसका प्राइस है बॉस, वो तुम्हारे बच्चों को देना पड़ेगा. इट इज लाइक भारत महाभारत में कहा ना, अधर्म. जब अधर्म बढ़ता है तो धर्म की स्थापना करना पड़ती है, राइट? ये अधर्म है काली ऊर्जा का. उसका असर के कारण ये सब पानी खराब, हवा खराब, मिट्टी खराब, संबंध खराब, डिप्रेशन, स्ट्रेस, वायलेंस. तो धर्म की स्थापना करना पड़ेगी. यू हैव टू एस्टैब्लिश राइटियसनेस. एंड व्हाट इज राइट थिंग? दैट इज इटर्नल, शाश्वत, सन. वी हैव टू गेट बैक टू द सोलर एनर्जी 100%. You cannot afford to live like this. When humans will learn to live 100% on solar energy, then you will be aligned with the nature, and then only you will have some chance to survive. Otherwise, by the end of century, you know what is going to happen? Minimum temperature rise in best case scenario, if you do all wonderfully well, as per the today's policy, the best case scenario is 3 degree rise. Worst case scenario is 6 degrees centigrade. Average rise in the global temperature. And that's why there is a question mark. Will humans survive? Yeah, so pre-industrial era, carbon cycle was always on, which means some carbon gets emitted, some gets absorbed. And why it is emitted? Because there is always a biodegradation taking place on this planet. There's always photosynthesis taking place. So there is a beautiful cycle of emission and absorption. Anything that you do extra will add to it, right? More emission. But because Earth is such a huge planet, some tolerance every system है, right? थोड़ा परेशान किसी को किया तो चल जाएगा, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. But all this is extra, right? And that's why I think the exact budget, if so much carbon is emitted and so much is absorbed, I don't remember the number, but there is a number that was in a normal natural cycle of carbon, which is completely got disturbed, and emissions have increased. Now, because of so much extra carbon dioxide, there's another. So that is how problems will lead to the another problem. What is happening now? Because there is so much of carbon dioxide, there is a more absorption taking place by ocean surface, and carbon dioxide plus ocean water becomes a acid. So the ocean surface is becoming acid. So the marine life is getting affected. So the food system will get affected. So therefore, slowly the time will come, and I believe we are already into the phase where not the thrival, survival will be an issue. Food, water, health will become an issue. It's already becoming an issue, and that will affect everything. And unfortunately, humans are very delicate animals, not like dinosaur, not like animal. A cow can stand in sunlight for 5 days. I don't know if any one of you can stand in 5 hours today. A cow can be hungry for 10 days. I don't know all of you can survive not eating food for 10 days. So we are very delicate creatures on this planet, and I don't think we'll have so much tolerance to survive. And that's why there is a question mark. I mean, it may be 20, 100, 50 years here and there, but the question is very valid question now, whether we'll be able to survive or not. But what is the solution? Is science improving? Technology is improving? Economy is growing? Size of our planet Earth growing? No. Planet is not. Minerals growing? Soil is growing? Nothing on this planet is growing. If I talk in rough language, इसको ऐसा समझ सकते हैं, मनुष्यों की औकात नहीं है कि एक एक्स्ट्रा आइटम धरती पर पैदा कर सके. Yes or no? Not a single atom. You can't create a single atom on this planet. And what we think? More production, more consumption, GDP growth. अरे कैसे? If your salary is fixed, how should be your expenses? Fixed. If your planet is fixed, how should be your consumption? Fixed. Whose consumption? Your consumption. Is that happening? No. Everybody is trying to push more and more. So, and by the way, we are already consuming resources equivalent of 1.7 Earth. There's only one Earth. How does it happen? Stealing, chori, degradation, depletion. This is what is happening. That is the story of the planet Earth. एक ही धरती है, but we are using resources of 1.7 Earth. It is definitely because of population, but much more because of per capita increase in consumption. And that's why I keep reminding of what Mahatma Gandhi said, that there is enough in the world for everyone's need, not for anyone's greed, right? Mahatma Gandhi never said there is enough for 1 billion people or 2 billion people. No, there are millions of species which are surviving on this planet. So if you take what is needed, there is no problem. But if you keep 40 pairs of clothes in your cupboard, and if you 2 vehicles and 3 flats and this investment, then you're gone. And that is what the problem is today. It is not that there is not enough supply. There is enough supply, but accumulation cannot be afforded. So there is a parameter called Earth overshoot day. So for example, you are earning let's say 10,000 salary, and if you in a month, and if you spend 10,000 20th day, then you are overshooting your salary on 20th of the month, right? So from 21st of the month, you will be living on a borrowed money. Similarly, there's a parameter Earth overshoot day. Whatever Earth can regenerate in 1 year, we can consume in 1 year. Then we are perfectly fine. Then we are sustainable. That day should come on 31st of December, ideally, right? You know when the day is going to come? This year, 24th July. Today is what day? 11. Another 13 days, you will be, you consume already what nature is going to produce in 1 year today, which means from 25th July, we are all going to live on a stolen resources, or we are going to deplete resources, or the water table is going to go down, or the air strength is going to, quality of the soil is going to go down. All this is going to happen. So therefore, there is only one truth that you have to follow if you really want to be sustainable. Size of our planet is finite, every resource is finite, therefore consumption has to be finite. If you don't follow this, I can tell you, you can go to whatever technology you want, you can go to the moon, you can develop 10G network, whatever you do, you will not be able to solve the problem of climate change. And I think this one fundamental understanding is grossly missing, and that is why the problems are increasing. So thank you very much.